You're listening to the Fit in Real Life podcast, episode 420, and I'm standing at my stand-up desk right now recording this, and my cat Calvin has decided to be on my desk as well. So I'm not sure if you can hear him. If he gets too distracting, I'm gonna push him off my table, but for right now, I'm just petting him and talking into the microphone. So about a week and a half ago, I went to the gym. I work out right now 3 times a week, and I've been loving it. I am loving my workouts. I'm getting so much stronger. I'm actually increasing my muscle mass. I do a body composition assessment at our studio at Ascend, and it's pretty consistent because I have the same protocol each time. And this time I have gained just over a pound of muscle mass. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but it actually takes a lot of effort to gain muscle mass. You know, we often think like, oh, I'm gaining weight, therefore I'm gaining muscle mass. I'm like, yes, maybe, but it actually takes a lot of effort to actually build our muscle mass. And I already had quite a bit because I've been strength training for so many years that when I saw the increase, I was really excited about that. So that's been going really well. And if you are wanting to know what I'm doing, you can go to tanyachaw.com/steal my workout. That is steal as an STEAL, my workout. And you can download the exact workout that I'm doing 3 times a week. But last Friday, so a week and a half ago, I went to the gym and I did my mobility warm up. And then I did one exercise and I went home. There was nothing in me that made me want to go. I I did an exercise, and I just did not want to be there. I felt blah. I didn't feel engaged. I didn't feel excited to be there. I didn't feel motivated. I just went home. And the next day, on Saturday, I went back and I did my workout and I got through it, but it wasn't the same. It felt just like I just didn't have it in me. And I posted into our community group, the Facebook community group, and also just on my Facebook profile as well. What do you do when you feel blah, no energy, just really not motivated to work out? And this actually elicited lots of responses and some really good responses as well. The responses ranged from things like, well, I want to know too. What do I do when I feel like that? To getting curious with yourself and asking yourself what might be going on that makes me feel that way. Do I need a rest day? Do I need to push through? Have I been eating poorly? That was Michelle who wrote this in the Facebook group. And also reminding yourself how you feel after a workout. A lot of the responses were pretty similar in the fact that we also just give ourselves permission to do something shorter because quite often feel a lot better after we do something short once we just get started. And that sometimes a short workout is what we actually need. We don't always need to push through. So that was the kind of the gist of most of the responses, whereas asking yourself questions, trying to get curious as to why this was happening. And sometimes it was just really about just sucking it up and getting going. And knowing that you don't have to feel like doing something to do it. You don't have to be motivated to go do the thing. You can do it anyway. And I do think that can be really helpful as well because there are going to be times where you don't feel like doing everything. And if you've been listening to me for a while or working with me, you know I say this often that motivation is a feeling and feelings are fleeting. And if you rely on motivation and feeling like it, you're going to be wildly inconsistent. But for me, it wasn't about pushing through. It wasn't about just putting some more music on and pushing through. I actually really do think that I needed a rest. And when I got curious myself and I looked at the history of my my workouts, I had been going pretty hard for about 8 to 10 weeks and progressing and lifting heavier. And I've been pretty consistent for those 8 to 10 weeks. With the exception of when I did my retreat, I think I worked out twice that week and twice the week after that. But other than that, 3 times a week, pretty much every single week for 8 to 10 weeks, and pushing really hard, which is also why I was getting the results of getting stronger and building on muscle mass. But then when this came, to be honest, the first response was a little bit of concern and fear because up until that point, I was so motivated to work out. I felt so good doing it. And I had this little thought inside of me that maybe that was just something that's going to last for a while and now that's gone. And can I get this back? And so today I want to share with you what to do when you're feeling unmotivated, fatigued, low energy, and you just don't want to work out. I'm going to talk about strategies. We're going to talk more about what to do to actually give your body a rest and how to change things up to really honor your body's needs. Now, if you are in the camp that you just need to push through and listen to music because this happens all the time, I've done other podcasts on how to stay consistent with exercise. And you could do things like, yeah, have a plan, have accountability, have a coach. All those kind of things can be really helpful. But today I want to specifically talk about what to do when you just feel like you're done, like you need a break and it's time to shake things up. So, first of all, I want you to know that it is totally, totally normal. And I really had to tell myself that as well and remind myself that these ebbs and flows and that this need for rest is part of it because I was really loving the feeling of wanting to work out. I was loving the feeling of working out hard and going to the gym and lifting heavier weights and getting stronger and pushing myself. And then when I went on that Friday and I just did not want to be there, I felt very weak, very just like I didn't going through the motions. It wasn't a great feeling. And so for me, a big part of this and for you as well is not acknowledging that these ebbs and flows and these times that we need to actually take a break is part of it. It is part of it. Same thing with your nutrition habits. You start a program or you set a goal and you're all gung ho and excited about it. And then all of a sudden you kind of hit this plateau or you don't feel like doing it anymore. I had a coaching call last week with a client who's going through that. And we worked through some strategies to kind of create that novelty again and to make things a little bit more fresh and new because while we don't need to rely on motivation, we can also do things to create novelty from time to time. So in this podcast, I'm going to talk specifically about fitness and what to do with your workouts. But know that that lull, that blah, that I don't want to, I don't feel like it is normal no matter what your goal is. I wish it was different. I wish we always had lasting motivation and we're always excited and enthusiastic to do things, but it's not going to happen. So, first of all, knowing that it's normal, acknowledging that it's part of the journey, and really planning for it. Because sometimes we just have weeks where we can't work out anyway. Maybe we're sick or you're traveling or something comes up. And I think sometimes we don't necessarily have to plan down weeks because they just sort of happen naturally. But if they don't, and in my case, I don't think they did, is understanding that that should be also a part of your routine. It should be a part of your plan where you go hard or you push or you improve your fitness for maybe 6, 8, 10 weeks, but then you actually strategically include weeks where you're going to have a little bit of a down week. And like I said, if you happen to be sick or you're going to be on vacation or you just have a really busy time at work for a while, you can use that as your down week where instead of feeling like, oh, I didn't work out or I'm off plan, recognize like, no, that's part of your plan. You're being strategic. You're actually honoring your body and recognizing that we can't push all the time. When I was, 20 years ago, 2004, I rode my bicycle across Canada. And we started in Tofino, British Columbia, and we biked to St. John's, Newfoundland, which is a really, really long way. And it was about 3 weeks into the ride that we just all felt blah. We felt tired. We felt we didn't want to do it anymore. And it was around that time that I actually connected with my old cycling coach. I had a cycling coach for my triathlon club in university. And he said that it's totally normal. Like when he trains athletes, athletes go 3 weeks on, 1 week off, 3 weeks on, 1 week off. And that's just what we do because if you're training an athlete, you can't push all the time. And whether you're training for a sport or you're training to compete or you're training for life, we're athletes. And it's important to recognize that we also need downtime. And when I heard that from my coach back in 2004, it made it okay. It gave myself permission that this will pass and it's okay that I feel the way I feel. And it makes sense that I feel the way I feel. And I actually kind of forgot about that until just now. But for me, and I hope this helps you as well, knowing that there are going to be ebbs and flows and times where it's actually helpful for us to take a break. So there's no need to feel guilty or ashamed. You're not off track or off plan. It is part of your plan. So it's normal. The second part is really evaluating if you need a break. Because sometimes, yeah, we do need to just put some music on and get her done anyway. Because not every workout is going to be, we're not going to get to every workout feeling motivated and excited to do it. Sometimes we just need to, like I said, put some music on and just get it done anyway. But sometimes that fatigue, that blah, is a sign that your body does need rest. And it could be also mental fatigue, it could be physical fatigue. One of the things that I despise the most, not the most, that's probably lots of other things I despise more. But one thing that a pet peeve of mine on social media are coaches that say we all have the same 24 hours in a day, as if that's helpful. It's not. It's true. We all have the same 24 hours a day, but it's not helpful. And in my experience, a lot of the clients I work with, it's not about just the time, it's the burnout, it's the mental fatigue. And sometimes maybe you're not physically working really hard, but your mind is going through some stuff or you're stressed out. And sometimes you need to shake things up a little bit and take a break or go for a walk instead of doing your workout. But recognizing that sometimes it's not always about the physical fatigue or your physical need for stress, but it's also that mental fatigue as well. And for me, I think it was a bit of both. I think physically I had been working pretty hard, but then mentally, just after 8 weeks, I think I was just needed a break. And that's okay. So a couple other signs that you might need a rest is if you're always feeling drained, you're having a hard time recovering, maybe you have disrupted sleep, or you know just that your workouts just feel so much harder than normal. It's time to take a break. It's time to take rest. It's time to shake things up a little bit. And really remember that you need to give yourself permission to rest. Rest isn't the absence of doing your workout. Rest is doing something. It is recovering. We do not get stronger by working out and by pushing hard and by lifting heavier weights. We get stronger when we recover from those workouts. So rest is a really big part of it. I watched a documentary on Netflix a while ago. I think it was Game Changers. It was the one that was talking about vegan athletes. But what I really appreciated out of that in that documentary was how they were looking at the different athletes and how much the athletes emphasized recovery and rest. Because as soon as their workout was over, their next job was to recover as fast as they could so they can get back to their next workout. So it wasn't just about like how many workouts you can do, is how fast you can recover from the workouts. So my whole point is that you get stronger not by working out and going for your runs and going for your walks and everything. You get stronger when you actually give yourself recovery from that time. So making sure that you have some time in your week to recover. And I don't think that our recovery day has to be complete rest, like sedentary rest, as in I'm just sitting on the couch all day. You can still go for a walk. You can do some stretching. You can do other things. I think our bodies are meant to move, and we actually do well moving, most days of the week, ideally every day. But it's really about still giving yourself that active recovery to rest. And if you happen to sit on the couch all day, that's cool too. Okay. So number one, it is normal to feel this way, that we're going to have ebbs and flows, not to worry, not to think that something's wrong or you're doing it wrong, or you can't get that kind of, that little, that spark back. Planning for it, accepting that's part of the journey, and then starting to evaluate if you actually need a break or if you need just to get started. Sometimes what I do is I start anyway, and 10 minutes through, I feel super excited and I have the best workout. That absolutely happens sometimes. In fact, some of my best workouts have happened when I don't feel like going to the gym. But I know for myself personally, if I go there and I just really want to go home, I just don't want to go there anymore. My energy is flat. I can't push. It just feels so blah. I know for me, that's time that I need a break, whether physically or mentally, because I just need a break. I actually have a pretty high commitment level to exercise. It is high on my priority list. And so if I really don't want to do it, like really don't want to, that's usually for me a sign that I need a break. For you, it might be different. Maybe for you, you're thinking, I don't want to any day. And maybe that means that it's not time to take a break, but time to work on persevering, pushing through, and reminding yourself that you don't have to feel like doing it. You don't have to want to do it to actually do it. All right. When you feel like this, and whether it's mental or physical, or you just don't want to do your workout, it is so helpful to change things up. So, this is what I did. I took a break. I did what I call a deload week, which is a purposeful planned reduction in your workouts. So, you can do one by increasing or decreasing the weights, maybe decreasing the number of reps. I did more form and mobility exercises. I was at the gym for about 30 to 40 minutes. I only did 2 that week, where normally I go for 3 workouts a week. And that's one thing I did to actually give myself some rest. I did completely different exercises. And again, really focusing on form and mobility. So, for example, I would do lots of single leg exercises, some more activation exercises. I would do some things like downward dogs to a plank position. Lots of things. I was a lot slower, 6 to 10 reps, and not 6 to 10 reps because I get my, I hit my max rep, my max weight. It was more just light. It was, yeah, it was just moving through the motions, just helping my body recover. So that's what I did. We call it a deload week. Now, if you are working with us here in Chilliwack at Ascend Fitness and Lifestyle, we're actually so excited to be making some amazing, awesome, exciting upgrades to how we program. And we're going to be a lot more specific into phasing workouts at Ascend, where we're going to focus on different things at different times. And we are going to incorporate some deload weeks as well, or some weeks where we focus a bit more on endurance and mobility to really make sure our athletes for life, are getting stronger, but also changing things up to really work on recovery as well. So lots of cool things happening. You'll hear more about it in the next weeks to come. So consider a deload week. It could also just be a break. It could be a planned break from the gym. Say, I'm going to take this week off. I'm going to go for some walks instead, or I'm going to go to the gym and just do lighter weights. And just because sometimes it's easier to keep going than to take a break altogether, but have that deload week. And it's not that you're taking it easy. It's not that you're like, slacking. It's that you're honoring your body's need for rest, whether it's physical rest or mental rest. The other part, and this is what I did as well, is I started to adjust my workout routine. So, from a physical perspective, and this is something that my opinion has changed. I used to think that we needed to change our workouts up like every 4 to 6 weeks. Otherwise, we plateau. Otherwise, the body gets just used to what you're doing. And it's true, if you do the same thing every single time, your body will plateau. But what's not true is that you have to change up the actual exercise that you're doing. For example, a squat. Let's say you do a dumbbell squat. You could do dumbbell squats till the end of time and still increase your leg strength, as long as you are challenging yourself, either by increasing the range of motion of your squat, increasing the road, increasing the time under tension, so how long you hold that squat for. So I used to think that you needed to change up your workout all the time, otherwise you plateau. Not true. We actually do better when we do the same exercises for longer. And this time I did 8 or 10 weeks here of the same exercises. And that way I was really able to track my progress and increase my strength. However, 8 to 10 weeks is probably the max, even though from a physical perspective, it's totally beneficial and totally awesome to keep doing the same exercises. It can feel kind of boring, and you can reach this sort of mental fatigue of doing that workout anymore. Now, that might be different for you. Some people could do the same workout for years and be totally fine with it. For me personally, if I do the same thing for too long, I just get kind of bored. And I think part of it too is when I get really strong and I push really hard at certain exercises, I also know how hard it is and how hard I can push. And then I sort of dread going because I know how hard it's going to be. So for me, changing it up just subtly can be really helpful. So I did that now I'm back at the gym now. I created a new workout routine. It's actually almost the same as my last one. I've swapped out a couple of exercises. Some of the exercises I felt really still serve me, some I wanted to modify. I'm actually incorporating a little bit of power exercises as well too, where you just like lift a little bit faster, some exercises, just to bring in a little bit of a different dynamic to the workout as well. So I'm changing things up, and that has helped me also now that I'm back at the gym, just being a bit more excited about it, a bit more, there's some novelty to it, which I think can be really helpful. And that's one thing too, if we ever do feel like kind of that plateau, is to change things up. And it could just be setting a new goal. It could be changing up your actual workout. It could be changing up, I don't know, when you work out. Maybe that helps a little bit. Probably not, but it's changing something up. As humans, we do crave novelty, and sometimes novelty can be really energizing. That's why at the beginning of a program, we always feel so motivated and inspired because there's so much novelty. And so in that week, if you take a bit of a break, just make sure that if you change up your workout, you change it to a way that is easier for yourself. and that feels more restorative as well. And it could be things totally different, like incorporating some more stretching into your routine or some more single leg balance exercises. That sort of thing can be great as well. And if you're feeling blah, meh about your workouts too, remind yourself why you're doing this. That came up in the comments quite a bit, is, revisiting your motivation, revisiting what, like, why you're doing something. And that could be super, super helpful as well. One of the practices I do is every single morning, I write out my plan for the day, and the header for my plan is my goal. And one of my goals is to be a fit, vibrant, healthy, strong, and well. It changes day to day slightly, but something along those lines. And I remind myself that my goal is to be fit, vibrant, healthy, strong, well. And underneath that goal in my planner, I'll write down what it looks like for today. And so for today, specifically, as I record this podcast, my goals are to, well, I did a walk run this morning. My goals were to stretch. My goals was to track with 100% honesty on chronometer. My goal was to get 10,000 steps and a general goal of making better choices. That's what I'm focusing on today. But because I revisit my big picture goal every day, and then I plan my day in accordance to that, it really helps me to stay, call it motivated, to taking care of myself. It can also be really helpful to set mini goals. Actually, right now in our members Facebook group, one lady, thank you, Julie, is leading a step challenge. And so she's posting most days about her steps. And there's quite a few of us who are doing it with her. And just having that little mini focus for the month of getting your steps in can be really helpful. Of course, for motivation, getting accountability, getting coaching, getting support, or working out with a friend can be really helpful as well. I'm actually pretty sure that when I did take the week off, if I was going there to meet a friend, I probably would have just pushed through and would have felt fine too. It's really hard sometimes to tease apart whether it is that kind of mental demotivation or physical need for rest. Either way, I just needed to rest. So mental, physical, who knows, and who cares? I needed the rest. But I do think that if I was there with a friend, it might be different. And then overall, remember, your workouts are just one part of the entire picture of health. It's also your sleep, it's also nutrition, making sure you're nourishing your body, you're eating well, you're supporting your body so that you can do your workouts, and not just your workouts, but so that you can do life. That you're also doing things to work on the mindfulness and working on mental your mental energy. That's huge as well. So meditation, I don't meditate. I think that it would be so beneficial, but I don't do it. For me, it's things like reading a book. Sometimes it is journaling. I have words and sentences that I practice on a regular basis that help me with my thoughts, and doing things that just bring me joy and bring life to my life, like things that I enjoy doing. So that's all part of it as well. All right, my friends, this podcast, my goal here was to, one, give yourself permission to take a break when needed, to remind yourself that it is part of the process, that we're not going to have times for, months and months and months where we feel motivated and excited and we're on track with our workouts, that these ebbs and flows are part of it. So it's important to plan for it. So for myself, I know now that every few weeks, maybe every 8 weeks, to plan a deload week, to plan an off week, and let that be part of my plan. Just like right now, after taking a few months off of work this summer, recognizing my need to have these recharge times. So taking regular days off, taking weekends off, doing things that fill up my cup and that light up my soul, so that when I work, I can show up as the best version of me, and I can really give the best version of me to my work because I have given myself that recovery. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. If you are loving the podcast, once again, 3 ways you can help. You can subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Google Play or wherever you listen. Number 2, you can share this with a friend by just sending them the share button. You can take a screenshot and share it to your socials. And number 3, if you could leave a review on iTunes or wherever you listen to the podcasts, that does help the podcast be found. That is it for today. I really hope that this helps you. It speaks to you. It gives you permission to take breaks, maybe plan for those breaks, to shake things up when necessary. And I really do wish you many, many amazing workouts where you feel motivated, engaged, like you want to push and be strong, and then also times where you get to rest. Take care and talk to you next week.